Welcome to the 2A Roundtable. My name is Josh.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Derek. And I'm Todd.
Or Toddler. And we're here to talk to you about 2A issues, I guess. It's probably going to be our theme. I'm sure we'll change this all up. So, you guys watching this are probably all on our individual channels here. Maybe you've never seen us before. Maybe you have. And so, what I call ourselves, the three main Connecticut YouTube peoples, our channels are here. And we wanted to do kind of a roundtable discussion. So here we are. And we're just going to talk about random stuff that's gun related, obviously.
Yeah, this one.
Todd might hit up his ADHD group mind out. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is actually a Connecticut related issue, and it has to do with others. Rob Sampson, right? So State Senator Rob Sampson of the 16th District, he had a constituent reach out to him who was, I'll say, annoyed that he has not gotten his CT other registrations done yet, right? We are in February of 26 now. He's had to be done, what was it, end of April 24?
Yes.
So we're a full year and a half into this. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you know, the guy's argument, we'll call him Bob, was that he did everything that he was supposed to do legally, and he would like his piece of paper. And he has also reached out to State Rep Chris Poulos as well, who is the 81st House District. So this is from Commissioner Higgins from the DESPP, and it was a letter reply to Rob Sampson, who then Rob shared it with his constituent Bob, who then shared it with me. It said, so the reply was February 3rd, and it says, Dear State Senator Rob Sampson, thank you for your letter dated January 21, 2026. So it took about two weeks to get a response there. Regarding your constituent and assault weapon certificates, I appreciate the concerns expressed in your letter and the opportunity to provide clarification. We have completed all applications submitted by paper and are now working through submitted online. Our agency prioritized these submittals due to the lack of records associated with the paper submittal. As correctly noted in your letter, individuals who submitted via email received a confirmation of submittal, which serves as a record. To date, there are approximately 41,000 online applications that still need to be processed. The Special Licensing and Firearms Unit are working through these applications during normal course of business hours and will continue to do so. I would welcome a conversation with you about additional resources that would allow us to complete this process faster, whether it be technological or personnel. Again, thank you for advocating on behalf of your district, and please not hesitate to reach out in the future for this issue or any other pertaining to the agency. Respectfully, Ronald A. Higgins, Commissioner of the DESP.
So much bullshit.
Oh, if you guys saw while I was reading that, out of the corner of my eye, I see Michelle going. So, Michelle, why don't you chime in?
So he says that all the paper ones are, that being said, all the paper ones without issues have been completed. If they had issues, whether the documentation was not sent in full, so they didn't put in their record, their DPS-3, or if something was wrong with the configuration, like if they wrote in the wrong type of gun on their registration form, those have, I believe, I want to say all of those have had letters go out to the people who sent them in and needed more information, and then they're waiting for responses back. So they're not complete. Then you also have anything that they tried to register that was illegal, which a lot of people did.
What is illegal or what the SLFU thought was illegal? But
both.
Questionable.
Both. Okay. And then both, because we've got a lot of people trying to register AKs as assault weapons when they're banned by name back in 2013. So there was no way that those were going to get through on this assault weapon registration.
Right. However, I have seen AKs that are set up as others.
They're not legal by state law.
I'm not saying I know somebody got one. I'm not saying what store. I know what store.
We know what store too. No,
there was stores with an S, by the way, guys. There's a few.
Yeah, there's a.
If you ever like to know, though, you can come in and ask one of us.
But there are.
Or not to go.
Technically, because even if you make it a Connecticut other or a fixed mag today on an AK, they are already banned by name and type. So there's no way you can make that Connecticut compliance, no matter what you do on the feature aspect, because that gun by name and type is already banned. It's semantics. I don't agree with any of it, but by the state, that's what they see. So when they see those come up, they have to pull those aside. All right. So that's one topic as far as having them completed. The other one is that they're doing it during business hours. No, they are not.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
It is overtime only because there was no, and we've said this before on our podcast, there was no fiscal line in that bill that passed. So when they don't add a fiduciary commitment to a law that's passed, there's no way that they are going to be able to add all that work to the department without adding more help. They didn't add more help. So hence they have to do it on overtime only. And those, unlike some overtime that they can do at home on a computer and log in that way, which is don't take that the wrong way. It's not stuff that's going to cause a problem with privacy or any of that, but they cannot do the assault weapons at home because of the steps that need to be done through the system that they've purchased. Does that make sense? There's like literally like, I don't even know how many, I want to say between 12 and 24 steps to just get one assault weapon certificate completed. And you have to go to all these different windows. It's not just like you go to an application on a computer and you go, okay, done, right? No, they have to open different windows, go to different batches. It's set up completely wrong, for lack of a better term. So it's nice that the commissioner thought it would be a wonderful thing to answer him back and give him some lip service. That's fantastic. But either the commissioner doesn't know what his departments are doing, or he's just blowing smoke. My guess is the second.
So how do we feel about the 41,000 remaining online ones?
So, like I said before, we started recording, 41,000 still remaining. Not to mention all that they did prior.
Correct.
I don't think that falls under the dangerous or unusual definition for Connecticut. To me, that number says in common use.
I agree with you.
But Connecticut argued at the Second Circuit when we wanted the injunction that, hey, they're unusual.
Yes. And they will continue to argue that because, for the sake of safety. And we have, correct. And
how many were does anyone know the number from the original Sandy Hook ban?
Oh,
how many were registered? Take a stab, anyone?
it wasn't, it
well, not pre-ban.
Not pre-bans, but
it was just any of the weapons.
Because it was post 2004 prior to 2012.
There was no pre-bans, correct.
Yeah.
So it was anything bought between
The federal ban and
post
then
ban and that day.
thousands, I'm sure.
There were, but there really was. Oh, the number that catches me that I remember, and I could be slightly wrong, it was like 15% of all people who owned these firearms registered them. So 15% is a small amount. I don't know what the total was in general, but it was 15% of what was sold to U.S. residents.
Connecticut.
Pitiful. Which is pitiful.
Well, yeah, how many people I didn't even know who on that?
Correct.
Every day. I swear, almost every day now.
Well, and some people just said, no, we're not going to do it. And then what happened is when they had this registration, some people tried to register the ones that they hadn't registered the first time. And those are being looked at because some of that stuff you couldn't have bought since Sandy Hook. So there's no way that they should be able to register AKs, for example. Okay.
Yeah, but if they're doing the due diligence now, they're registering what they're supposed to, quote unquote, there. Just fucking do it.
That is the mindset of some of the people up there, and then other people not so much.
There's civilian employees, right?
Yeah, but it's not all the civilians.
Oh.
And it
Do the
goes-
paperwork.
It's not even the department. It's again goes up to commissioner and right under commissioner and how they're dictating the department does it down below. So and you literally can call every day and talk to a different person up there every day, and you will get a different answer every day you call, every time you call.
Well, I don't think.
You don't get no liability.
Well, you won't find this in the link in my bio. I'm sure you'll find it in Todd's thing over here. I'm sure I'll put in this little T-shirt link there. They don't like a T-shirt that you made. You know,
Which one was that?
it's a stick figure.
It's a little stick figure humping SLFU. And if you go there, I wore it, and they told me I couldn't wear it.
Really?
So I came back with one that said SLFU was gay. I was just expressing that I thought they were a bunch of happy grim state troopers there. I didn't like it.
They didn't like that either. No, at the end of the day, I find all of this extremely disheartening because there's a lot still that we're not registered. My opinion is kudos to them for not doing it. Okay. That's how I feel. But because we've said this on the podcast before, you need to know the laws. And if you're going to break the laws, you need to understand the consequences.
Right.
So the choice is yours to have. We've been hearing for years, just laws are made to be broken, but they have to be, if you choose to go down that path, you have to know what you're taking on. You can't just go, oh, I don't know. That doesn't work. I filed the law because I have an FFL. This is my lifeblood. I can't be messing things up. Does it hurt me inside? Yes, it does.
A great deal of law at Second Circuit. One of the other arguments the state uses, there's no evidence we're actually going to enforce these.
No, they're not.
Which followed up to Heather in Plymouth getting nicked and not registering her assault weapon because she didn't know the law was passed. Now that's a Class A misdemeanor by the letter of the law. But when they completed the AR, they cranked it up to a Class D felony.
Correct. Because this is how they're not going to enforce it, meaning they're not going to kick indoors. They're not going to go to gun stores that are doing things wrong. They're not going to,
Which is
look for it.
insane.
Yes. Yes. They're not going to look for it all. However, if you happen to do something or get yourself jammed up in some way, and we've said it before, it's as easy as, you're cleaning your gun and you have to call EMS.
Medical
Heart
emergency.
attack, anything happens, and EMS comes in. In Connecticut, you always have a cop that comes with you. They come into the house, they see something. You're now jammed up on a red flag law when you didn't do anything, but they happen to have access to your home.
But they're also not supposed to run the serial number unless you're suspected of committing a crime.
Yes.
Is that God?
Yes, but once you let them in your home.
Oh, yeah, it's fair game.
Yes.
Yes.
I totally understand that. Look, again, you can see that the state's like, okay, here's the law. Here's a framework. If you do this bad thing, here's your misdemeanor. But then the state uses their weight, their power, their money to shaft you as hard as they can to make an example out of you.
Right. And it's us. It's not the gangbangers. It's not the people with the
You call them-
illegal guns.
Because I'm hood boogers.
Yeah.
A little sorry, Michelle.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But, you see it all the time. I just saw an article with I guess in December, there was a shooting at the Trumbull Mall, and they just caught the kid out of Bridgeport. He was 13 years old. He's not going to get jammed up on the gun charge. It's not like you or I would for just self-defense or just doing something, just, having it in our homes.
That's because you know better. That's what they've argued before. You know better, or they'll be punish you harder. While the hood boogers, career criminals don't know any better. They didn't have the same opportunities that you had. Hence, they don't understand the law.
I bet you if they got,
That's unfortunate.
but I bet you if they got jammed up, they'd learn the law, and their friends would too.
There is a standard, a double standard in treatment of the law
Yes.
and how it's applied to criminals and the law abiding. It's always been that way.
It's worse
Unfortunate.
now, I think.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah, it's
I'm
definitely
wrong,
worse.
but I think it's definitely gotten worse and worse, especially in Connecticut and any of these blue states. They're using us as examples.
But the other thing is, get understand, which we deal with all the time. Most cops aren't gun people.
No.
They don't understand the laws. So I spent time on phone with PDs trying to explain it to certain officers. I'm like, yeah, this is what the law says. Because they're immune to it. They're in that bubble. And then when we ask for guidance from SLFU, we ask, hey, okay, here's the law. How do you interpret it? How are we enforcing it? What does this mean? And we get nothing.
Nothing.
No explanations. Part of HB 7042 starting at line 36, when they banned all those, well, we don't know. It's reasonably foreseeable making that legal than illegal. What does it mean? We never got guidance. Nobody knows what it means.
So, and I have to tell you, it is frustrating to those working in that department that do understand firearms too, because again, their hands are tied, and they said that it's a constant struggle between the people who understand and the people who don't understand and are interpreting things two different ways.
Yeah.
And it's a constant. It's nobody can get anything done in a efficient manner because there is no guidance. Okay, we pass laws at the legislative level, and then we say to the SLFU, "Hey, this is the new law. Good luck." And it's not the people that work in the department. I have to say, and we say this all the time, that department is doing what they are told, and with very little guidance because they're not hired to have the education. They work in a firearms unit doing permitting process and following, registrations and all this, but they don't need to have experience.
So what you're saying is they're just following orders?
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's not what's used.
I get it. But again, what are you going to do if you're in that department and you can't get?
How do you enforce a law that nobody understands? Nobody knows how to interpret.
They're not.
And then when a normie out there makes a small little boo-boo, it all comes raining down because you're just making it up as you go along. You're like, oh, we're going to interpret it this way today. How's that fair to any of the citizens of Connecticut?
Oh, it's not. It's not. But
how do you obey the law if you don't understand it and the people that enforce it don't understand it and the people that wrote it didn't write it and they are just as clueless, if not more?
correct. No, absolutely. And the people writing it and the people passing it don't actually do their due diligence.
So
Find out what they put in writing.
who writes these laws then? Bloodborne doesn't know anything. He
Exactly.
says, "Oh, I'm going to have to, send this to the expert or whatever."
Correct.
It's 37 times.
During last year's public hearing, that was
Yes.
the
Like-
best.
You're in charge of an anti-gun group and you don't know anything.
No. And even the politicians, they do it because that's where they're getting the most pressure. So they go, okay, and they do this, and they pass it. Example. We're going to go back to Sandy Hook, to the band after Sandy Hook. Okay. CCDL would put on a legislative shoot. And we did this before Sandy Hook also, where we would invite all the legislators to come to the shoot to learn and get some education on firearms.
I've done that
Okay.
shoot before.
And I thought it was a great program. We didn't get a lot of response from all too many legislators. I thought it was a great program, but on one table, especially and right after Sandy Hook, and I think for a year, maybe two afterwards, but at least the first year Sandy Hook ban passed, there was a table put out, and we put out wooden guns, we put out metal black guns, we put out shotguns. Some were tactical, some looked like hunting rifles, even though they were not. They just had a wooden stock. And we'd say to the legislators, so which ones on this table are banned? And every time they went to the black gun, whether it was bolt action, off action, didn't matter. It was a black gun. And that's what they thought they banned is black gun.
So they're stupid.
No, I wouldn't say stupid. I would say ignorant.
Well, the big thing I noticed,
And that's
classes, which I request because it's one of our slides, is the 40 grain 22 long rifle, 1,000 feet per second. They give it a little more juice. Now it's an FN57. It's still only a 40 grain 22. And then you have the 223 Remington, which is NATO, which is a 40 grain going at 3,000 feet per second. They're all the same. And the classes are usually dumbfounded. No. Look, yeah, your AR-15 is a 22.
And above it has a little gray circle of what it would make if it went to a piece of paper. And
Calibers
the-
in general, look at a 45 compared to a 9, but yet, the 9 is similar to a 5.56, and that's the bad round. It's like,
Yeah, what's funny is what we over that is on like 9mm 38 special and 380 ACB. The bullets are all the same size. They're all 9mm technically. And they're like, but they don't understand. I'm like, you got to do your due diligence so you understand how the numbers work and what they really are. Because one person was talking about AR-15 and they thought it shot something the size of like a 30-06. I was like, no. No, I said AR-10, we'll shoot a 308, but that's what it's designed for. I said AR-15s. And all of those models are just 22s that go really, really fast. They're on that bleeding edge of stability. Anything changes the velocity of the projectile, it gets really weird.
And used
That's the
in the
point.
wrong hands to do harm, yes, it will do harm, but so will anything. Anything, a car, a hammer, your fist, anything can cause damage if you have that, if that's your mindset. If you have the intention to do harm to someone, you can. But when you're banning all these guns,
The problem is you're coming from a point of common sense,
yes,
and they don't have common sense.
You saw
It's not about safety or protecting anybody.
rights.
It's just simply using specific events to foster emotional responses to pass a legislation that has nothing to do with the event itself.
No, it's good feeling.
We saw it last year during the public hearing. You gave testimony. You gave testimony. The Patriotware side gave facts, data, statistics, and explained foreshadowing. This is what will happen. The opposite side came up and said, well, we don't like guns. They're scary. We need to ban these. We need to make these people responsible.
For those people's actions.
So, and all, the politicians were like, yeah. It's like, that's an emotional response.
Yeah.
Someone comes in here, they buy a firearm lawfully, acting normal, with a permit, driver's license, everything. 6 months down the road, they do something stupid. I was at the FFL staff. Where's your crystal ball? And they didn't see that coming.
Well, and at the end of the day, they keep wanting to talk about, are they worthy? Can they do it? Suitability and all this stuff. If you look at human nature in general, gun owners, not gun owners, it doesn't matter. There are people who do snap on occasion at different points if something happens. Now, is it acceptable to snap and do harm to someone? No, it is not. But that doesn't mean that you knew it was going to happen. You've got the most level-headed person who has lived their whole entire life legally, done everything the way they need to do, never even really had an argument, just kind of like calmed it all down, everything's great. And all of a sudden, something will happen in their life. And all of a sudden, it's like, boom, and things have now changed.
That's why we say it's always the quiet ones.
Derek, you've been the most quiet here, man.
I'm just hearing good points here. So
Absorbing the
I
information.
don't doubt it.
Again,
Yes.
it boils down to one or two bad apples, and the states, and it's not just here; it's a lot of
Yes.
states in federal government. Their first reaction is collective punishment,
Correct, which is wrong.
which leads us into this stupid governor's bill that they just put out for the Judiciary Committee,
Yes.
where it's hood boogers taking legal guns and an illegal switch, bringing them together, creating something completely illegal at a federal level. And now the state of Connecticut wants to go after all of us. And they're holding the manufacturer.
And
Who doesn't even make,
FFL,
Yeah.
yes,
Class D felony.
but who doesn't even make, like, they don't say, here's this gun, and if you buy this too, you can do this. It's completely
Yeah.
separate
The
companies.
Glock switch has nothing to do with Glock themselves. Now there is a full on of Glock. It's the Glock 18.
Yes.
Good luck getting one.
They had one on the
Not anymore.
Glocks. They had one on the Glock store. It was like $34,000.
Good luck getting it. But yeah, the Glock 18 is full auto. But it's a safe for full auto. That's it.
That's it.
But the state of Connecticut, any state that's passed this law, because California kind of led the way with this
Yeah.
whole, let's ban all Glocks because they can be converted easily.
Mhm.
Instead of saying mandatory sentence for a legal machine gun is 10 years,
Yes.
we're going to give it to you.
Yes.
They don't say that. We're just going to ban the gun
Correct.
because they never hold the criminals accountable.
Yes.
Never.
Because how many Glocks are out there that nobody owns a switch for? It's just a Glock. It's just a firearm.
All
But
my
you're right.
Glocks. Got a lot of
On a Glock, 0 switches.
This is Guru is a Glock.
Well, see, and I am not a Glock fan at all. My business owns Glocks because I have to do it for fit and finish. Me personally have never carried one, nor would I ever want to carry one. But when this is being
She's a
passed,
sig snob.
I like my six too. But at the end of the day, with this passing, it's not something I'm going to go, oh, I don't like Glocks anymore. It doesn't matter. Because this is just
there's
another
people-
slippery slope.
There's people that don't do that though.
There are. And
Right,
it's
it's not-
scary.
That picture from his name just went out of my head. From CCDL, that used to be a legislative coordinator.
Right?
Ray Adidas, thank you. And it was when he did his like little legislative workshops, and he would have a "Don't Tread on Me" snake, and he would
Yes.
change the captions to like pistol owners, right, revolver, whatever, and
Yep.
all little sections that don't work together, like the AR ban, right? They're like, oh, I'm a
hunter.
I'm a
a
street
shooter.
guy, right? And that doesn't affect me, but it just keeps chipping away at the 2A rights, and here we are now. We're gonna go ban a handgun,
Look at Bob Stocks.
Not just like one hand.
a whole lot of handguns.
A whole lot.
You're banning a bent piece of metal inside that said handgun, which affects not one company, but several.
Multiples. Yes. Multiples. No, it's a very scary, slippery slope. And this is something that gun owners in general across the country need to get on board with. You can't cherry pick what you're going to be pissed off about if it affects you. If it doesn't affect you, you don't know what's going to affect you down the line once you allow more and more and more to pass. They end up becoming easier to pass because, well, we just already got that done and that's taken care of. So now we're just going to hit this. And now we're just going to hit this. It's like little pieces of this freaking cake. And they go, but we still, you start off with a whole cake. They cut it in half and they say, well, you get half and we're going to keep half. Then they cut the cake again and say, well, now we're going to take this half, but you still have the half of the half, but they don't word it that way. They say you still have half. And then they cut it again until you end up with the tiny little sliver and we've lost. Meanwhile, they've gotten 9/10 of a fucking cake.
It doesn't explain anything. I think that's one of the reasons you're coming back to clarify. It's not just us. Georgia, Illinois went in last year. It's in their judiciary committee for 2025 got to come out this year. But now Connecticut's doing it. Georgia, which I did a video on. And there are a bunch of states that are doing it. My question was, why all of a sudden and if you look at the color of the state, you'll understand why. But
Because they're all talking.
why are they all going after this one component?
Because it goes back, this is my belief, it goes back to Remington. They were able to sue Remington out of existence. So Remington had to be sold and pieced off, okay? The name is still states with certain things, but
That's why Glock came.
that was a win. Nobody, when that came out, there was very little resistance from gun owners saying, what are you doing? There was very little at that point in time when they're starting to pull those kinds of lawsuits. People should have been getting more involved. People should have been following this. They got away with it very easily and went, oh, look at this. We can go after manufacturers and then we don't have to ban guns because the manufacturers have.
Why did they
Bankrupt.
Remington?
Yep.
Because it was in Call of Duty and had really good stats.
It was an ACR. Okay, it wasn't even the right name.
I'm like,
Because they always change names in video games. Some of you played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Because they
Like-
wanted to say that the guy who did Sandy Hook was playing Call of Duty, and that's where the idea came.
His mother bought him the gun.
It's
Yeah.
there's so much to that is not public,
And
it's almost using and cherry picking what works
Yeah.
to make them sound better, and it's not.
well, and that lawyer was last summer doing his public hearing.
good old Joshua Koskoff.
I still say he looks like a goblin. But that's
I just watched one of Harry Potter.
he looks like a goblin. I'm like, oh my god, that's what I see.
Anyway.
I'm quiet now.
No, but it's a slippery slope, and we just keep going back to it. And now they figure Glock, they tried to sue. Okay. Right after last year's bill went through with the liability, they went after Glock and said, recall everything, which Josh and I, and I think everybody here had called that out, that was going to happen. And so then it did. And then Glock went, okay, fine, we'll redo everything. But within a week of redoing all of their guns and revising everything, there was a new Glock switch that came out. And so they couldn't stop that. They figured out, okay. So now instead of going after Glock to sue them because they realize Glock will just keep doing these revisions and these Glock sticks will just keep showing up again. Now we'll just get rid of the gun. And that will hurt Glock because Glock loses the revenue from any one of these states that can no longer buy. Hurt him enough? I don't know.
Then Glock needs to do something about it.
I agree with you.
Stop selling the LE too.
Like
Pull all your
Yes.
guns
what you said, if
from the Connecticut State Police.
you want to ban Glocks, then we're not going to do business with your LEs.
So I give them
In your state.
20.
Right. Your state is off limits to us. We're done. And because there's still a lot, especially in Connecticut, that use Glocks in their department.
State Police, Sellington PD, Bristol PD,
Oh, there's a lot.
Cheshire.
If they turn around and say, you know what? You want new guns? Don't come to us. then we'd start hearing something because now all of a sudden you're going to have your LEs, your military guys that are located here that want to buy contract stuff, any of these big companies that are doing this, and they're going to be like, I can't buy a Glock. Are you kidding me? And then they're going to start talking to legislators, and the legislators are going to go,
Oh, what I don't understand though is precedent's been set. When Mexico tried to sue Smith and Wesson, and SCOTUS said, can't do that. It's not their fault. That's precedent.
Connecticut's part of the
sue.
U.S. They don't want to hear that.
Pretty much. We got
That was Mexico.
we got Tong on it.
Even though Tong fully endorsed that, Mexico
Of
mostly
course he did.
fully endorsed it.
He is in the middle. But I think it's Tom mostly is doing the
100%
mouthpiece and then going to Lamont. And all of them are talking to all of these states because it's amazing how everything hops immediately.
Tong is in charge. He's the president of the Association of Attorney Generals for the United States.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's a little high attorney general of all the states' attorney generals.
Yes. He has a cool little title.
Who the fuck voted for him?
Well, I just read it. No, it gets better. I just read an article that said Lamont is ranked #1 among governors in the U.S.
By who?
I don't know where the hell. Well,
By U-Haul.
I was like, who did this poll? I didn't get called on that, nor did half the people in Connecticut. Because it's, but it's the same as you have Blumenthal and you have Murphy. And you hear all the time, on these, when stuff's going on down there, and there's national podcasts out there, and they say, hey, this bill's coming up. Reach out to your legislator. I got nothing.
Oh, it's even worse.
It's
Larson
not
is my congressional guy.
Yep.
But he's just as old as these other idiots. Him and Blumenthal were probably best
But they
friends when
don't
they didn't
hear
go to Vietnam.
Send Blumenthal and Murphy messages about fiscal when I have a problem with money stuff going on that I want them to look at. And I get a canned gun control letter back.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with fiscal that I my initial email. And I'm like, is this normal? Or do they just know that I was bitch about guns?
And sure. Sweetheart, you ever notice when Connecticut passes an anti-gun bill, within a week of it being signed and all that, Blumenthal wants to take that shit nationwide.
Yes. He wants to screw the rest of them.
He did it with 1742. I was
Yes.
like, come on.
And they're trying to bring Eaton's law.
Well, you got
Yes.
Now he's
in
trying to
federal
make
level.
Equals law back. Go on.
you got Blumenthal Jr. Even Sean knows why I paused on that. He just sends everything to Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. They blew me. Yeah. Todd could figure out probably a nickname for Blumenthal Jr.
Not one thing. No.
Do we get monetized or demonetized, Todd? That's the question.
Listen, you want to violate TOS? We can. We'll nuke this before you.
So we're starting a Patreon here, guys. That's
So
actually not a bad idea.
Listen. I have my beefs with Blumenthal, but I know Murphy personally because I dealt with him.
I'm sorry.
I dealt with him for a while, and he was running for office.
Oh,
He was like my best friend.
right.
Then he got elected.
Oh,
Then it was crickets.
yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Then it's a long drawn out story, but I was bitching with some old guy. I didn't know who he was. Turns out he was the chief of staff for Lieberman.
Oh,
Lieberman called me because Lieberman was still our senator.
yes.
And I recognized the voice. And he goes, I hear your problems. Give me a day. He called me back in 10 minutes, goes, I got it all cleared up for you. Boom, 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 boom. I was like, that's all I wanted. Never heard from Murphy again. Because I kept emailing him,
You won't.
kept calling. I'm like, bro,
They're busy in every other state but this one.
Do we wanna-
Let's just face it.
Well, we can take the podcast on the road. We can go down to DC for a weekend. Knock on the door.
Judge Janine said she put me in jail.
I didn't watch that video yet. You can't bring it down.
I think we should.
Ricardo does
watch that.
DC permits. So,
You can't carry it anywhere in case.
I want to
Yeah.
watch Todd get put in jail, though. Can we go anyway?
yeah.
Okay.
Are you bailing him out?
No, I just want to watch him.
Derek, you bailing him out? This Guru will pay to leave you there.
As soon as my wife watches this, she'll be packing my bag.
This is Guru sending a check. All right. So next topic. Who's got one?
Well, what's happening in Virginia? They're well on their way to becoming another Connecticut, or California.
They've been for years.
They're
changed.
well on their way.
I remember back in Sandy Hook, right after Sandy Hook, when Connecticut had a huge 2A route. And I say huge, but I use that in a general term. Okay. One of the biggest rallies that Connecticut's ever seen. It was only, a few thousand. Okay.
That's like 1,000 times more than the open carry one.
Maybe 100 times more. But when, we did all that, and I remember going through all of that, and we had Virginia, believe it or not. We had a lot of Virginia people coming up to our route. We had New Hampshire come, Virginia come.
Yeah, but were there members of the VCDL?
They were, but there was also other members also, not members, other just Virginia residents. And it was kind of cool. It was one of those, I just started getting involved in the state level because I had been watching it, and I had been one of those people for years and years that I believed I didn't need a permit because I was U.S. resident and I had rights. So, and I had access to go into the range with friends and this kind of stuff. So I was like, no, I don't want a permit. I don't want to pay the state that kind of money. And right before Sandy Hook, I went through the process and then realized how much I needed to jump in. That was eye-opening. But so we were at the rally and we were watching all this go on, and we were so excited to see, these free states come up. And then what was it? I want to say 2008. That when Virginia had their big rally down there. Was it 18, 19? Maybe 19.
Yeah, 17, 18, I think. I know what you're talking about.
And I went down there for their rally because that's when that, I can't remember his name. And
Youngkin?
no, the end with an N. I don't know. But he was the one that first proposed the first ban on ARs and all that. Okay. And VCDL put up this whole big rally. So I went down. And I gotta tell you, massively impressed. Over 50,000 people there.
Virginia. I used to live there. And yeah, it was always purple, but they like their guns down there.
Yeah. And
They
I'm
really
watching,
like
but
their
since then I've watched it topple.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of it is because of the DC quiet neighborhoods coming up.
A lot of people in DC live right across the Potomac, literally,
Absolutely.
and that's the influence
Is
right there.
that,
That's why the Democrats basically have that majority
which
in
is
both houses.
because it's a per capita thing. Because
Tin Cane.
property land wise, you have a lot of people on the outskirts.
Yeah,
Tin Cane.
But there's thank you.
You're welcome.
But there's a lot of stuff, and it takes hours. People are traveling, living in Virginia, but traveling 4 hours just to get to Richmond.
Ready for this. This is the nutty part. So when you drive through Virginia and you're about to enter Tennessee.
Yeah.
As soon as you enter Tennessee, there's a Bass Pro Shop. It's on the state line.
Yes.
In order to get into their parking lot, which is in Tennessee, you have to go in Virginia to get to it.
So it's right on the line.
It is right on the line.
So how do you do that if you buy something?
So that's the big question, because everything's still legal in Tennessee. It's Tennessee. You buy an AR, you buy standard capacity magazines. When you leave that parking lot, you go into a residential neighborhood in Virginia.
But you do have the Federal Transportation Act, so you can put it in your trunk unlocked.
Yeah, but what if Virginia bans them?
You can still cross over. You can, because even in Connecticut, if it's in a locked container,
We all know what the
unlocked,
law says. We don't.
Yes.
But state trooper.
You go take an AR-15 through Illinois and see what happens.
I was just going to say Massachusetts and see what happens.
it's the same as New Jersey.
That's
Same crowd there.
Go drive through Jersey, down the Jersey Turnpike with some hollow points.
and wave them around.
I'd love to see.
We're starting a legal fund for Michelle as well.
No, I don't. I purposely drive an extra hour. I go out to PA and I skirt down the outside before I clip into the Carolinas.
Right.
I don't touch. I go to Virginia, I should say.
or like down 87.
Yes, I don't go down 95 at all.
But that was a big thing. As soon as Virginia went nuts.
Yeah.
People in Tennessee put up the Bass Pro Shop. I was like, yeah, you know what that is. It's right up the state line. And they're like, legal, illegal, and it's this big swath of area you have to drive through before you pop back into Tennessee. I was like,
So if they park,
awkward.
so if they park a top out there, it'd be like a
It's just state lines. They could be like, hey, if they wanted to be dicks about it.
well, they'd have to have reasonable.
Okay, you lost me there. Yeah.
I agree.
That's the problem.
Well, it's people get just complacent.
Yeah, but look at this local, like this past election. You didn't have people, right? A lot of Connecticut went blue. I know that's a far-fetched statement there. A lot of towns, municipalities across the country went blue. And that's not because people switched their vote. It's because, again, Republicans stayed home.
They did.
Okay. You can look at the data at this point.
Well, there's also
And you had more Democrats go and vote because they hate Trump for whatever reason. And it affected all the local municipalities. I think we have a problem coming up this November because we're in the same boat and we're already at a 2-1 not majority
Well,
in the House and the Senate.
I saw Sampson's video.
Yeah,
Where he's like, we took all 15 of your bills. When even your stand-ins, he's like, and all the ones that we want, you won't even listen to.
Yeah.
They're like, damn.
oh yeah,
Okay, that's a problem.
no, they're entitled and they don't
That's a
care.
problem.
They don't care. You know, like used to be, you could say, "Look, I'll just move out of the state." Now they're like, "Good, well,
Yeah.
yes, I got to deal with. That's awesome."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but you got to look at it too. Like I saw, I was looking at stats because you know how they wanted the voter rolls and all that, and there's Tong's kind of dragging his feet on that. There were stats, even just preliminary, put up, and it had different breakdowns. At the end of it, it was over 300,000 votes over voter registered.
Same.
And
So we're
they-
talking like same days or due? Look at
no, same days. They're cool. The final counts.
well, you have
It's-
same day registrations, right? Because like I have my number breakdowns from
It was
my
fraud.
local election. Okay, that was really the question.
Yes, it was.
It's like
fraudulent
same day local
votes.
elections, same day voter registration for my election. You maybe had maybe a maximum of 4 to school and like maybe like 0 to 1 is like the minimum. I think each school had some, but it wasn't like this one had 30 and that one had none. Like it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, this is fraudulent votes. And I find it, so when we go back and we talk about November, because it is a concern. But the other thing, I don't know, Trump is looking into this and the Trump administration and,
Yeah, but look, it's
Jay, all
slow though.
they are slow, but
Look at Bridgeport with the ballot stuff. We have him on camera twice doing this, and
Yeah.
we trust Bridgeport's integrity.
no,
How do you, if you live there, how do you trust that?
it
Like,
matters.
this is
They don't care.
It's insane.
But I think it might get very interesting. Yes, it's slow. It's a slow process. I think it might be interesting closer to November's election, what really happens. Like this summer, let's see where it heats up.
I
To see what gets looked at.
I don't.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So here's my question, going back to the whole Virginia thing before we get off on a tangent. With their House Bill 217, which bans assault weapons, it also bans standard capacity magazine, takes them down to 10.
Yep.
At least in Connecticut, we had a grandfather clause
Yeah.
where you could register them.
They're pulling on Rhode Island.
But in Virginia, they're like, no, we're going to take them from you.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you enforce that? How do you?
Well, in Rhode Island, overnight, they made them all felons.
But they're not going to enforce it the same as they don't enforce it here. It's if you get caught with it. And that's where they continue to make law after law after law, and they kind of overlap each other. All these laws it's building up into this pile of laws, but they don't enforce because, when they catch them, then they can find something in the mix that will work. And the problem with that, even Rob Sampson said, with the way that Connecticut's doing their laws, and we had talked about it earlier here, it's very hard to be a legal gun owner or follow any Connecticut laws because there's so many that it gets to a point where there's too many to follow. Like you don't know what's what.
Yeah.
Oh, was it Fozzie? I'm
I just
sorry.
edited that clip. That's
Okay.
why.
I'm sorry. It was Fozzie or my dad.
It was a state senator.
And I've talked to Rob about
Yes.
this in the past, but so maybe it wasn't on the podcast. My bad.
But it's
Um,
it's all by design.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely it
definitely.
is.
It's exactly what Fozzie was saying. There's so many laws in the books that when the regular person goes to try to figure it out, they can't.
They can't.
Right? And they're written like crap. Like we have all read bills here. And I'm like, what did I just read? And then I read it again, and I'm like, I still have no idea. Thankfully, we're in 2026. We have a little technology called ChatGPT. Throw the bill in that. I'm like, make this into English so I can understand it.
Yeah, but even a few of those, ChatGPT came back with basically like, what? This makes no sense. It's like, okay, thanks.
Well, some of them
That's
don't.
not-
They truly don't
Well,
make sense.
Then we get it in class when we cover state law because it's a requirement now. We're at
Yeah.
667, 6 and 7.
So,
And we explain the law. It's like, here's what the law says. Here is what we think it means, how it's interpreted. Here's how it's enforced. And here's the reality of it. And they're all like dumbfounded, like, that literally makes no sense. And I always ask the class, what does this law do for us? How does it keep us safer? How does it help us as a law-abiding citizen? And they all come to the same conclusion. It just punishes us. It does nothing to stop criminals in any way, shape, or form. Because even when they are caught, the little hood fighters, where we go light on.
Yeah.
There's a two-tier justice system.
Definitely.
If you try to obey the law, you try to understand everything. If you screw it up, you're done.
You crucify.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're a criminal, well,
Light on crime. It's not their fault. Blah, blah, blah.
what a bad life. And, don't take that the wrong way. I know that, life is hard for some people.
That's not an excuse.
It's not-
But
yeah,
the-
I'm pretty sure Ben Carson had a hard life.
But there's a lot, that's what I was going to say. There's a lot of people that have grown up in inner city and have not had illegal guns or gotten into crime. They pulled their bootstraps up and they got the hell out of there. And, just because you live there doesn't mean you get a pure excuse. You can live in the best house, the best neighborhood on earth, and you still have criminals living there. You have kids that break into things. Your kids breaking into cars, stealing stuff all the time. It's not about where you live or what you look like. It's a mentality thing. And those of us that truly want to be law-abiding citizens work hard at it. The ones that don't want to be law-abiding citizens don't give a crap. They don't care about the laws being passed out because it doesn't affect them.
hey, Todd, did the breaking in the cars hit home for you?
Yeah.
Did you break into cars?
No. Someone broke in my truck. The truck. Yeah. The truck.
So I.
Yeah. So somebody.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they took my gun safe.
No gun, no.
Oh, but the only thing that's in there is just a little sign.
I love it.
That's it.
I love it.
So, but I would step further because when you read the law, it just says it's got to be locked safe.
Yep.
Doesn't say it has to be tethered.
It says lockbox.
Doesn't even say it has to be bolted. None of it.
No.
Mine was tethered, but it was in a spot where I'm like, if someone steals it, they're going to steal this.
Right.
They did. They even break the tether right out.
Really?
Yeah. So when I called the local PD, and I was like, hey, somebody broke my vehicle. They were assholes too. They left the door open and it snowed. So the whole driver's seat was covered in snow.
Oh.
So,
Right? Insult to injury.
I know. Oh, I called the police department and they're like, I was like, and they took my gun safe. And there was like dead silence and going, yeah. I was like, no, I'm not insane. I'm not stupid. They're like, oh, we're going to send a detective out to you.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Because all of a sudden now it's important they can
Yeah.
watch stuff.
So now I get a text from Todd. I'm going to be late.
The cop shows up, real cool. He's like, hold on. He's got to click his little camera on. I'm like, all right. He's like, explain what happened. What'd you find? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, he was the tether dangling. He's like, okay, that's cool. Like, he's like, are you sure there was no gun? I was like, positive. I think I put a firearm in that lockbox once. So I don't do that.
You don't need a car gun?
No.
I think people do that all the time. They're like, it's my car gun. I'm like, no,
No.
you should never have a car gun.
I preach it in class. The gun stays on you. God forbid you're in a car accident. Right? If they remove you, extricate you, and you are unconscious, at least your gun's going with you. Of course, it went to the back seat. Now, nobody knows it's there, but you're still liable for it. But anyways, so about a week later, the detective calls because we had gathered footage off of our camera systems and all our neighbors. Because we
Okay.
just sent a mass one. We need your camera footage for these types of things. So we got everything. We got car.
Oh, cool.
They are like, we know the direction they came from, and we got those little hidden cameras everywhere.
Yep.
little hidden cameras they have all over the sticks.
Oh, flock.
So they have these cameras. Now,
So the town of Southington,
Sorry, I don't.
this is public information. You can go look this up. And once you start looking for flock cameras, you'll see them everywhere.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago or whenever it was, they started installing flock systems. And what it does is it does license plates. It's a license plate reader. So a system for, yeah, but it's only for Southington. And what that has done is it's dropped our car break-ins off a cliff. Right? We were tick, 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 boom. And and one of them is right over here by Home Depot area, right across from the
Because of
creepy ass motel that's there. And it's been very successful over there for some things.
But here's the deal, though. If, say, the car that broke into or people that in that car, if it's only tracking Southington,
Well, Southington system.
it's
So it's-
Southington system. We have a
Okay.
Yeah.
in my town. It was
And they might talk to each other, the flock systems, but it's only law enforcement can access it, and there's certain stipulations on where they can access it. So if a license plate is put in stolen and probably in a state system, and then it drives by one, then it pops.
So they said with the direction, knowing what direction he could pull footage, etc.
Mhm.
So they call a week later, and they're like, "Hey, do you have any more footage?" Because a few of the neighbors didn't have their footage right away, so we had to wait to see if they picked anything up. And they were like, "No, we didn't pick anything up." So we're talking with the detective. He's like, "Yeah, they hit a couple of blocks down. They hit another vehicle." I was like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Unfortunately, they did get a gun at that point." I was like, "Oh, that's bad, really bad."
Connecticut frowns on that.
Yeah, I was like,
Unless you're a state employee.
if you're a deep cut, you could totally lose your
AR.
really rifle.
Just shrug your shoulders and say, oh, well.
My God.
Patriotware numbers.
Did they catch him, though?
Well, they identified them. He wouldn't say who they were, but they know they're youths.
Of course they are.
He goes, he just kind of, I was like, I get it. And then we have that, we're talking before we started, Middletown, that BMW was stolen. Another gun was stolen inside the Beamer. And I always preach to people, don't leave your guns in your car.
No.
Ever.
Because that's what they're looking for. That's the hit right now. And with a lot of people, that's what they just hope and dream. They're not looking for your ID. They're not looking for anything. They're not even looking to joyride your cars anymore. They want your gun.
So they were rummaging. Right? Clearly they rummaged through my stuff, right? Luckily they left my Bucky's mitts. They left. Don't touch my Bucky's mitts. They left cash. And I'm thinking as soon as they found the safe, they
Better.
joined it and did.
Now, we would have camera footage on this, but unfortunately, Todd's rear light turned on when they opened the door. Bam, right into the camera.
Yeah.
Nice.
Huh. Well, I hope they get him.
Now I know how not to park at Todd's house. Or how if you want to break in, just blind the camera.
But you do know, last year with the liability bill, part of that they wanted to add in was any youth, so underage person that was caught with a gun felony or charged with a gun felony would automatically do time. That was written within this. And all the
And Todd's was a
Democrats,
separate bill.
no, they joined it
How did
together.
that-
It was
And-
I think 15 and older.
Okay. Minors, whatever.
Right.
But they went in and all the Democrats across the board in Connecticut voted no.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. You want to make us safer, but you're not actually going to prosecute the minors that are doing it because the adults that are telling the minors where to go, they don't know who those people are, all the time. Yes, they can track it back.
Oh, you mean-
Sometimes they get told.
Wilkins break-in where the adults were helping them.
Yes, but the minors are the one that are on the hook because
Yeah.
you're a juvenile. Well, you go because you'll get out.
Well, again, how old were the after-hour shoppers?
13 was the youngest, and then up to 18.
Mhm.
The getaway driver was 18.
Monroe's the same place. They found in a 13-year-old, they found one of the stolen guns from one of the Monroe stores that got broken into under his bed. 13. And they're upstanding because if they're breaking in and stealing guns now,
little tiny did nothing
Nothing
wrong
fine and
ever.
But it's a
After hours
shopping. But that's a situation, a store where I work. We had a bunch of these little young scholars, future engineers hanging out in the store.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just watching them going, okay, you're not old enough to buy anything. You definitely can't use the range. Your adults, you know, your
Yep.
parents are not here. So you guys got to go. Right at that moment, a detective I knew pulled up to the store. I said, hey, these kids have been kind of hanging around here. It's kind of unnerving. He goes, I'll talk to them. He goes down, comes back. He goes, I know where they are. They're part of this gang. They live like a couple blocks over here. They got busted 2 weeks ago for robbing another gun store. And I'm looking at them going, wait, a couple of weeks ago, they robbed another gun store. Why are they on the street?
Why are you not having a problem with it being in another gun store?
Which are not supposed to be by law anyway.
Right. No, I got nothing.
questions.
Yeah,
You
know-
don't want the answer to.
Well, we know the answer. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's us. We're the bad ones. Apparently, I'm not doing it right. That's all I have to say when it comes to all these laws and how gun owners are bad. I'm not doing it right because I'm not a bad gun owner. I need to learn. I need to hang out with the hood boogers, as you
Sorry.
say.
No, you got to start when you're like 4 years old and set the pattern.
Did my lot.
You missed my life. I missed my life.
All right. Well, we're at an hour here.
All right.
So,
But I do want to point one thing out because we talked about Virginia. And I don't know if you read this in that law. They're claiming all of this is about making Virginians safer. Okay, so when this whole thing was in committee, they passed a whole bunch of it. There's still a lot that they didn't get through the committee. More gun control that they want to do. But here's the funny thing. The one bill or presented by a Republican to increase the mandatory sentences
I didn't
for
see it.
illegal gun ownership, they said no.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute. Is this supposed to make us safer or not?
No, it's not.
They're not going to hold the criminals more liable. Actually, they reduced. Remember, one of her first moves when she got in was taking away the mandatory minimums, taking out mandatory minimums for what she was claiming was nonviolent crimes. You know, child's. You know, everyone's sitting there going, "Wow, yeah, really? This is
But-
making people safer."
This is something for another podcast that we do because I want to do this again.
Mhm.
But we need to just around here, like what would be each one of your ideas on how to change this?
Change what exactly?
Get a
Change-
better voting base.
Okay, yeah, change the whole this trend of what we're doing,
Well-
of making criminals more entitled and not pay a price.
Let's hold the criminals accountable for the laws that are on the books before we add more laws.
100%. But how do we get that? That's what I'm saying. What
Vote out. Stop voting for the same fucking people
watch your camera.
every 2 years. You need to vote better.
Republicans need to stop playing this game of it's just a presidential election.
Yes.
All elections count. That's why the Democrats are lunatics. But within their lunacy, they are focused.
Yeah.
They're riled up and they will come out in droves and vote. Republicans are, well, it's not the presidential election, so I don't care.
Yep.
Right. Or that
Okay.
doesn't affect me.
That's-
So I'm not worried about that. And it's like it affects all of us. Whether you think so or not, it affects you, especially when it comes to your rights that are in the Constitution, any of them. Okay. You're not actively exercising one or the other or something part of it. You don't just let it go because you never know when you may need it or want it. That's for every one of us. You know, we all have to sit and look at it. We all have to stand together. We all have to vote in a way that makes us truly safer, not what our legislators want to tell us is making us safer.
Well, on that note, we'll do our little outro here.
Yeah, you got stuff to do. So
I do. Politicking. Fun.
See as a light.
So, my name's Josh. Lock and Load Podcast and Lock and Load Firearms.
My name's Michelle, Lock and Load Podcast and Patriotware.
Derek Reeves, Connecticut Gun Bench.
and I'm Todd. You can find me on YouTube at Gun Guru and all the other socials at Gun Guru. It's not for the faint of heart. Which one would you? No.
Todd's not for the faint of heart. Poor Mrs. Guru. If you guys like this, make sure to follow our channels wherever you're watching this. Links will be in the description for everyone. And then if you guys have suggestions on what you want to hear on our next one, drop them in the comments below. And we'll see you guys next time.